Is college a $700 billion scam? The dark psychology exposed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the education system wasn't designed to make you successful, but to make you compliant? Think about it. We send kids through 13 years of conditioning, then we hand them off to an industry that makes over $700 billion a year, selling them debt that they can't even bankrupt in a job that they'll probably never even get. And here's the crazy part. The system doesn't even need to prove it works because it uses psychology so powerful, it convinces you to prove it to yourself. You'll defend the very machine that traps you, and that is not education. That is what we like to call indoctrination. From the time you were 5 years old, the message was simple: get good grades, get into college, or your future is screwed. It not once asked you about your individual personality temperaments, your openness, your drive, your creativity, your leadership, your discipline. Nobody cared about what you love or what energized you or what value you could create in the world. No, the system funneled you into one outcome: college. And by 18, the conditioning was so complete, you didn't even ask yourself, should I go? You asked yourself, where should I go? And the moment you buy into that frame, the machine has you. Because college isn't sold as education, it is sold as identity. And the identity is the strongest prison of all. School doesn't train you to think, it trains you to obey. Bells ring, you move, teachers ask questions, you regurgitate answers. You're rewarded for compliance, not for creativity. And by the end of high school, you've been conditioned to measure your worth based off test scores, GPA, and ultimately your acceptance letter. That's the pipeline. 13 years of conditioning that makes you believe your only value comes from the next step, and that is college. If you still don't believe me, let's put numbers on it. Student loan debt in America is at 1.6 trillion, 42 million borrowers here in the States alone. And unlike credit cards or medical bills, you can't even file bankruptcy and walk away from it. It follows you forever. Right now, 20% of all the American borrowers in the US are more than 90 days delinquent on their student loan payments. 1 in 5 are already behind, and it doesn't stop at retirement. Up to 15% of your Social Security check can be garnished to pay back this debt as well for unpaid student loans. You see, this isn't about tuition. This is a lifetime contract. But maybe the cost makes sense if the reward is there, except it isn't there. Only 48% of graduates even work in the field of study that they majored in. More than half change their majors more than once, and 52% end up unemployed within a year of graduating, working jobs that never require the degree that they majored in. And here's the real kicker. Once unemployed, more than half of them stay unemployed for 2 to 5 years. So the promise of college, pay now and succeed later, only turns into pay forever and succeed maybe. And it's not even sold logically, it's sold emotionally. Acceptance letters are treated like life-changing events, tears, celebrations, viral videos. It's marked like you just won the lottery based off some institution that's gonna take your money and hold you to that debt for the rest of your eternity. Parents will empty their savings, mortgage their homes, and sacrifice their entire retirement accounts for the chance to say, my kid made it. This isn't education, it's about status, and status is one of the most addictive drugs in human psychology. And then here's the irony. You pay 5 figures to learn business from professors who have never built one. You take leadership courses from people who never led anything. You take entrepreneurship classes from people who have never entrepreneurshipped anything. You didn't even question it because the conditioning works so damn well. And this is called authority bias, and it convinces you that if they have the title, then they have the truth. Now, let's break down why this indoctrination system works so well. First is authority bias. Humans are wired to obey authority. From childhood, you were taught that teachers are right, the principal is right, the professor is right, and by the time you hit college, you don't even question the degree. You trust authority because authority is selling that degree. Second is scarcity bias. Colleges frame themselves as exclusive, limited seats, limited scholarships, limited prestige. And scarcity makes you desperate, and desperate people don't negotiate, they just accept. They sign the papers and they move on. Third is social proof. Everyone else is doing it, your friends are applying, your parents expect it, your teachers push it, so you don't want to be the outlier and you follow the masses. That's the irony though, because majority thinks they're making an individual choice, when in reality, they're just following the herd. Fourth is loss aversion. Psychology shows we fear losses twice as much as we desire gain. So the idea of not going to college feels like you're throwing away your future. That fear drives more decisions than the promise of what you'll gain. Fifth is something called sunk cost fallacy. You've already invested 13 years in schools and towards this education system. So it seems like the logical next step to keep learning and keep studying information. And once you've started college, dropping out feels like wasting that money and 13 years of your life, plus whatever time you spent in college. So what you do is you double down even when it doesn't make sense. Sixth is identity fusion. College isn't about activity, it becomes your identity. You're not just John or Sarah, you're a college student. That identity fuses so strongly that leaving feels like you're losing yourself. Seventh is anchoring bias. The system anchors college as the baseline of success. Entrepreneurship, trade schools, apprenticeships, all the things where money's actually made, they're painted as risky or second class. Your brain compares everything to the anchor and everything else looks like less safe. And eighth, future discounting. We overvalue the promise of the future rewards and we undervalue the pain of the present. So we accept that debt today because we believe in the story. I'll pay it off later. And later never comes for millions. Put it all together, you realize college isn't just an education system. It is a psychological operating system. And this is why it works so well. The higher education industry in America generates $700 billion a year in sales, and it doesn't just sell it once, it sells it across generations. Your parents bought in, you bought in, your kids are next, and that's not by accident. That is a business model. So here is the reality. College is presented as the only true path. It uses psychology, authority, scarcity, social proof, identity, anchoring, and so many other more psychological tips to lock you in, even though the statistics show millions never pay this off. They never get what they promised. And I'm not here to tell you what to think, but what I am here to do is to show you this system and expose it to you to where you can never unsee it again. Now, let me ask you this. If you're watching this right now, do you think college is still the path to success, or has it become something entirely different? Drop your comments directly below this video. I want to hear your story. Don't be quiet. This isn't the Luxvoni show. This is our show. This is a place for you to share your opinion, speak your voice, and not be judged for it. So speak it below. And if you're ready for the type of education that builds real freedom, not depending on other people, to where you can master money and get to the levels that you want to, and you want to do that by building a real business from people who have actually built it, I want you to head over to luxvoni.com so you can see exactly how we do that. Be great and enjoy the day.